Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 7, episode 6 of Remote Control. I got this number wrong last time, so I'm scared to say one now. 6. Okay, Mark is showing me 6. um, Today we are joined by the Sheep's Meow, and we're taking a look at Tree Trunk Brook. So if everyone on the call, let's just do a quick round of introductions.
Hey, what's up? I'm Brian. Pronouns are he, him, and I work on game design and development for the Sheep's Meow.
Everyone, I'm JJ. Pronouns are she, her. Also work on game design and development at the Sheep's.
Hey, Mark, he, him, co-owner of Wonderville. I'll be playing Tree Trunk Brook today.
Coming to us live, as always, from the Wonderville sound booth. The ever-illustrious locale. And I'm Matt. I'll be your host, he, him. Let's go for a little digital hike.
Cool.
Mark, just to confirm, are you in control of the game right now? This is our first time experimenting with Parsec, so we're okay. Cool, it works.
Let's do it.
So Josie and Olivia helped out on this. I definitely recognize the Josie soundtrack vibes. Extremely chill.
Yeah, she did such a great job on it.
She was amazing to work with.
Mark, your phone's ringing. Here. I know you don't have sound all the time, so I'm telling you that your phone's ringing.
Check it out. Ooh.
So I have to start with this question because I'm extremely curious. Which trails near New York City was this modeled off of? I was at Breakneck Ridge 2 weeks ago, so this is great timing for me.
Yeah, there's a spot on the Yellow Trail that's inspired by Breakneck Ridge.
I knew it.
There's a bunch. It's really a bunch of trails in mostly New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts. Just kind of a bunch of things kind of put together. The overall layout is inspired by this nice small hike, Flat Rock Brook in New Jersey. And we really liked how it's a very, very short one. So it's only a little more than a mile, but you really go through a lot of things in a very dense kind of space. So we wanted to think of a layout like that.
Mm-hmm. Which you could see here of extremely tight main loop, little loops going off that are like, hey, you want to see water? Hey, you want to see a view? Go for it.
Matt, I think on the Twitch, it's still on the title screen.
Oh,
I don't know if anybody else can confirm that, but
it does look like it is, and that's a little strange. Okay, 1 second. I'm going to figure out why the game capture isn't working. Thank you for noticing.
Oh yeah, GJ, do you want to mention some of the other trails that it's based on?
Yeah, there are a few trails that were inspired by. So we go to Eagle Rock Reservation a lot. It's a hiking area or nature area in New Jersey. Some of the photos, actually a lot of the photo sources that we used in the game were taken from that area. I think when you come across the tortoise, take a picture of it, you'll see the tortoise that we actually saw during an Eagle Rock hike. And what's nice about there is there's a bunch of trails. Some are like vary in difficulty and duration. So we like the variety that the area has.
Yeah, the summit in particular is from a photograph from Eagle Rock Reservation, where you can see New York City from there.
Oh, cool.
Sorry, video will be back online in just a second. I've diagnosed the problem. I just need to actually act on it. My apologies, everyone.
So while we wait, I want to ask you about the art style, because it looks like these are kind of digitized photographs, right? Like all of these settings.
Yeah, it's
cool.
it's like a mix of found images and photographs that we've taken on our own hikes. And we've kind of put them up and edited them a little bit and collaged them together for the game.
All right, we're good to go. Sorry, Twitch.
Yeah, I love the style because it feels like it's a real place, but there's some like collage elements and other things that make it really unique. That's really interesting.
Thank you.
Yeah, we used kind of downgraded resolutions on some photographic assets to kind of as a callback to some retro point-and-click adventures, but also sort of an art direction idea that Jay can probably go more in depth about it, having it kind of feel like a memory. Like if you look at the phone, it's this is on loop in August 2020, so this whole thing will sort of be a moment in time here. So it's got today's date, but it's set to August.
Yeah, so like the cutting and pasting of everything, it's just familiar enough to like have people like wonder like, oh, that looks like someplace that I've been to before. It's not like 100%. We're not going for like accuracy. We wanted to go for that sense of familiarity.
I noticed checking the patch notes that an exception was made for cell phone camera photos.
Yeah. Yeah, if the hiker's taking, I don't know if you saw the old version of it, but it also used to be this really low resolution camera, which we thought was kind of just a funny joke. But, you know, people are taking photos, and I think she deserves a phone upgrade. It was a good change. It was one of the most repeated points of feedback from like the Steam reviews and such. So, you know, we figured that would be the one main thing we can update really quickly and easily. And those are our photos for the most part, just from our hikes that we've just plopped right in there.
That's awesome. Where did you find it? Where did you find such a perfect fairy ring example? Like, that one's pristine. I was shocked.
Oh, that is
it's
the
actually,
one thing. That is the one thing that like we couldn't find a perfect version of, so we had to like put one together and collage that one together. I think we allowed for that.
Yeah, that mushroom photograph is the most recent one. I think it's actually from a few days ago, right?
Oh yeah.
The photograph of the mushrooms, yeah.
I also want to say I missed this the first time around, but I love the bird collar. You know, phonetic difference. That's amazing.
Yeah, a lot of the puns or the funny writings I think Brian was able to put together. I'm not so good at that part. Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's no voice acting here, but I guess the gag is that this character is kind of like speaks softly or is hard to hear, because there are some other things. The next time you go talk to her, you also mishear something.
And so the characters are asking me why I don't have a friend with me. It's funny because it's like, it makes me think about like what this character did before, you know, and like they were traveling with a friend who wasn't here on this hike, and you're only learning about that through the dialogue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we made sure that the first 3 or 4 characters that you speak to all mention your friend right away.
Provide some kind of context, so it's not like you're starting the game from scratch. You're kind of starting in the middle of their lives, so they've had a life before, you know, you started playing, and to kind of give hints as to like a little bit more about who the character is and what they're missing, things like that.
Mm-hmm. We'll learn about the friend when you eventually take the bus and end your hike.
Hi.
Yeah, I noticed that this game has a really surprising amount of replayability for a game that is offered free suggested donation on both Steam and itch. Also, super cool donation scheme on Steam. I've never seen something like that before. With the suggested donation DLC. I guess, is there a target number of replays that you had in mind for this game?
Well, if you want to 100% everything, that is like collect everything, see everything, and become best friends with everyone, the minimum amount of replays you can do that in is 3. But yeah, that was a design goal from the very beginning, because we wanted people to not necessarily just do one long hike, but just like maybe in your real life, hopefully maybe, you know, you're going to a different trail maybe multiple times in a month, or if you're becoming friends with these hikers, that you're not doing that by just meeting them once and talking to them for a long time, but you know, you're seeing each other repeatedly. You're sort of regulars here. That's why everybody knows that you usually go with your friend and that your friend's suddenly not here.
It's very true to the hiking experience, and just like you'll hit the same trail over and over again, and every time there's going to be at least one new thing, at least one like weird thing you didn't notice before, or whatever. The social distancing dog petting is of course heartbreaking, but also a very real truth. Dogs can't have
I also
COVID,
love that everyone...
they can spread it. PSA.
But everybody here is wearing a mask. It feels very timely. And I think it's like we're in this era where if you watch TV or something and you see characters without masks, you're like, are they being irresponsible? Like, what time is this set in?
Yeah, initially we didn't plan on giving anyone masks because we made this before the pandemic started. And then when we were finishing up, it was kind of just like, we should be conscious of what's going on right now, and maybe we need to, you know, include the fact that, you know, this is kind of a reality that everyone's dealing with.
That's really interesting to hear. I definitely assumed that this was an idea born out of the pandemic and out of quarantine.
No, it started as a regular hiking game, so to speak, without, you know, before any of that. But, you know, since this happened, we kind of couldn't just ignore it.
Right.
And, you know, it's also a relaxing game, right? It's sort of an escape, but that's not to say to pretend that none of it exists. There's sort of this, like, idealistic view that you can get away from the city and go to this place. You don't have to be concerned with whatever this character does during the day, although when you get here, everybody's actually wearing their masks, they're actually social distancing, and when you get to know the characters more, they'll open up a bit more about the problems that they're getting away from. So it's sort of an escapism, but it's not by ignoring everything. It's not by pretending it doesn't exist.
Yeah, and I've certainly found the 3 or 4 times that I've gone hiking, you know, since beginning to isolate heavily. It has always had that even more of an escapist feel than normal, which, you know, like I try to leave Brooklyn every summer for stuff like this, and it always feels like, yeah, I'm getting away from the city, this rules. But this time in particular. Also, I promise I won't ask this about every photo, but how close did you get to that black bear? Was that one of yours?
Yeah, that black
that's
bear.
Brian, yeah.
Gigi wasn't there for that, but that bear walked right in front of me. There was another hiker who kind of put his hand out to like stop me because I didn't even notice this bears. They're so quiet. He was like, "Wait, stop!" And then this bear just crossed right in front of us, like I would say arm's length away. But you know, the bear didn't care, wasn't interested in us. And I was just like froze in my tracks. And so the bear, you know, went away, and I was like, only then did I was like, okay, I'll take a picture. So that was actually not out here. That was out in like Wyoming. But,
I had a similar rattlesnake experience in Joshua Tree, where it was like, oh, everyone stop, like every hiker. Let's not go this way.
I think I've read that sometimes if you go in areas where wild animals are really common, to make lots of noise, or if you have like a dog with you, to have like a bell on the dog, so it's scarier if you are surprising the animal, versus like, you know, you being aware that the animal is there and avoiding it. It should never scare a wild animal, especially a bear.
Right, it's the whole like, if you're hiking with someone else, just talk the whole time. Like, don't be afraid about stomping on leaves and whatnot. It's just safer. Every trail has at least 3 of these.
Oh man, my favorite thing is that I can go in here.
Yeah, that was a must-have feature.
And that is a lean-to from Eagle Rock Reservation. Kind of this like big thing that you just can't miss. One of the trails there.
Hello.
Hi.
I don't know if I've ever seen someone with a metal detector on the trails near the city. I used to see that. I grew up in upstate New York, and you see it up there somewhat often. I don't know if it's just not as big of a thing closer to the city, but it is like a fun archetype.
Yeah, we've seen a few.
Mm-hmm. And we were thinking of like what are commonly, what are those like archetypes that you see on a hike? I wanted to. I think some of the dialogue talks about, I think it loses a battery and you have to find it. And then there's this concern of like, oh no, there's a battery in the middle of a forest. we have to find it before it burns the entire area down. But I'll okay at the end.
Yeah, it's pretty humid out here, but yes, a battery can actually start a fire in a forest if left alone.
Also love the fully accurate use of trailblazes.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we wanted to. I mean, I don't know if trailblazes are used in the same way outside the US, but we wanted to at least keep that so like people who hike can be like, oh, I know what that is. A little shout out.
If I recall.
Yeah, this.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, yeah, this is a pretty common format as far as I know. A lot of people have recognized this.
If I recall from a conversation I was having with a friend at Breakneck Ridge 2 weeks ago, it's like the current trailblaze structure is based on like old like hunter-trapper signs that people would leave. With the general there being like, if you saw a trailblaze, it was probably warning you that there's like a bear den or something nearby and telling you should leave. But
Oh, wow.
Is there a way to check my inventory?
Nope, but if you talk to the hiker, they'll repeat what it is that they've lost.
Right.
They're looking for their cell phone. And if you've returned it, then they wouldn't be saying that anymore. They would be just talking about other stuff.
I'm just the antisocial person. I don't want to talk to them
It's okay.
Yeah, so
the red trail.
So things you've picked up so far, you got the bird call, you got a fair amount of litter. There seems to be a surprisingly complex litter system in this game.
Yeah, there's a random chance for litter to spawn at various points on each map, so that it's not like always in the same spot or whatever.
It's always really sad to see how much litter there is actually on a hiking trail. Like, oh man, why would you do that? We wanted to at least add a little bit of it. People like get up and clean up the area, take care of the space a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I like the size 9-volt battery.
The litter. There's no real in-game recognition of the litter besides just the number going up. But for the Steam version, we created a leaderboard or a litter board, and some people have been going kind of hard.
Yeah, I noticed. I think the last time I checked, your high score was at like 170 or something.
Yeah, it's over 100 for sure.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So many people were going, pretty high on it that we actually just added 3 achievements related to it, just because people are doing it. Yes.
Is that a gardener snake? I think. Yellow stripe.
It's a type of garter snake. I think I call it a It's something ribbon snake, and they're very. I think they're like cousins or siblings or something. Um, Super harmless.
Mhm.
I think all they do is eat like worms and newts. I think. Yeah, not aggressive at all.
Hi.
Do any of these characters have names, official or unofficial?
We that was a decision. I think GJ was most adamant about it, that they not have names, and yeah, I agree with it. They have I don't know what you would call them, not nicknames, but there's a way that the character refers to them when texting her friend. So that is the backpacker, and another one is the bird watcher. Another one is the runner. There's like, we have like a chart in the Steam on the Steam community page that has all the characters, their titles, I guess we would call them, and their pronouns.
I think the only character in the game who has a name is actually Pepper, the dog.
Right.
Okay, is this the screen inspired by Breakneck?
There's a rock scramble. There's another screen that's more directly inspired.
Okay.
But this summit spot is more directly inspired by
Hi.
a spot at Eagle Rock Reservation.
I remember doing that rock scramble the first time on Breakneck Ridge, and I was like, oh gosh, I'm not gonna make it. We made it, but it was really scary.
I love that show. That's like one of my all-time favorites.
Like there was this one part where I felt like I was like trying to walk up a very steep incline, and I just had like sneakers, regular, not like hiking shoes, just sneakers. I don't think I'm gonna slip off and fall to my death, but I guess gravity is okay. It
It's not
kept
going
me
to show up on the
planted on the
camera,
rock.
but I have a tiny scab on my finger from doing that scramble.
Oh my gosh.
It just sort of slipped a little bit. There was a lot of snow melt that day, so it was a little
Oh
damp.
wow.
Oh.
Still good though, worth the car.
So
rental.
this summit pick is New York, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
As seen from, is it Montclair or West Orange, New Jersey? Eagle Rock. It like kind of goes across the border of two towns.
Rock Reservation. I gotta check this place out apparently. Oh yeah,
That's
that's
really
real close.
nice.
Mm-hmm.
Just on the other side of Newark.
It's a hawk.
I just love the casualness with which it slides across the screen.
They're kind of like that, yeah. They just kind of glide. Don't really see them flapping their wings.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool watching them kind of like circle and get air and go higher and higher, and then I guess they're looking for some kind of meal.
So that rock scramble that you came down is like partly inspired by Breakneck.
Mm-hmm.
Hi.
The backpacker, there it is.
Mm-hmm.
I love this description. I didn't know this at all. Appropriate response.
Am I correct in thinking that in order to rank up the relationship more, that requires another lap?
Yeah, another actual hike.
Yeah.
So you would have to leave yeah, and then come back another time.
You know, I noticed it says I should go back to the bus in 5 or 10 minutes, but it doesn't really matter when I go back to the bus.
No, it doesn't matter.
It's like, oh no, I'm not gonna make it in time. Always another bus.
Yeah, I think at first when we implemented that, we really wanted players to like take the bus and do another lap. But I mean, people just wanted to just play and explore for as long as they could, their first try, and found that, you know, the constant buzzing or the reminding, they didn't like listen to it, which was fine. And so we updated it and made it less kind of persistent. I mean, either way, we never enforced it. It was just like a slight reminder.
Mm-hmm. We wanted to encourage people to leave and come back, because that's how you would end up befriending everyone. But, you know, people just want to do it on whatever schedule they want anyway. So.
The magic of hiking, right?
Yeah.
You just get out there.
Yeah.
Although I guess there's the other magic of being like the train that takes us back leaves in 40 minutes and we're not sure where we are and we need to figure this out. But that's like that's a very different game. Love that absolutely massive rose bush.
Yeah, those are all taken from Brookdale Rose Garden, also in New Jersey.
There's a lot of like things with scale that we get around with. Sometimes the player looks like, you know, she's super tiny, and other times like as big as the battery. That was kind of on purpose. We wanted to give, I don't know, like a sense of like, what is it? The difference in scale that makes you feel either big or small. Like if you were in a forest, you feel really small and tiny amongst all the big trees. But also how like you remember things. Like if I remember how big and bright the colors of the roses were, like they're really big and bright in my memory, like disproportionate to other aspects of what I remember. I wanted to like lend a little bit of that to the visuals.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely.
So now I'm just returning.
What was that, Mark?
Go ahead. I said now I'm just returning all the stuff to everyone on my second round.
I definitely instantly felt that sort of dreamlike atmosphere in this game. Just everything, the sound, the visuals, the scale of things. It's all really, really, really delightfully fuzzy is maybe the word for it. But not the photos, obviously.
Yeah, about the sound, Josie had a really good insight on leaving lots of space. Because at first she gave us these stems, and I think at first I just put them in kind of like, okay, yeah, they're randomized, but then one would just play as soon as the other one ends and so on. But she was like, no, then there's music all the time, and like, you have to like give the players like a lot of space in between of silence or ambience, and she's like totally right.
So I guess now that I know that this wasn't in response to quarantine protocols, well, what made you interested in making a game about hiking?
Well, there was definitely the desire to do something a little different with this game. That is, so it's kind of anti-gamey in a lot of ways, right? It's, there is a way to like sort of complete it, but the idea is more about like repeating and familiarity than, you know, completing, like or just consuming like the level, so to speak. You can't really take things, or you can't gain things. You can only take away litter, which has no value. The only items of value that you get are things you actually just return to people. You help people, but not by being some kind of hero, just by kind of listening to them talk about their problems. We kind of wanted to make something really different from the usual, I guess, like power fantasy that a lot of video games try to fulfill. So I know that was a lot of that was sort of at the core of the initial design goals. Yeah, I think that was sort of a lot of like we just wanted a nice place where people are nice to each other. I don't know. That's something that sometimes feel we didn't see the friend yet, but I guess the premise is you find out they're not together. Well, she broke her leg, so she can't go hiking. But on top of that, the last time you went hiking, you argued, and so now there's this also sort of restorative process of like staying in touch and texting her photos from your hikes, and so kind of all this together is sort of just this idea of not necessarily being like a hero in a video game, but also like helping and being helped and being nice to people and people being nice to you. And we just wanted that in a game, in a video game.
Yeah, I think Matt and I have both been playing a lot of Hades. I don't know if you've played it, but the whole, it's the experience isn't more important than building the story, and I think it's like a cool idea for playing through a game where it's not about like collecting or conquering or doing any of that stuff. Just the act of playing is the point.
And even just mechanically, it's very calm. I know, like, past things I've seen from the Sheep's Meow are games like Exposure, Nobody Home, which are both a great deal more frantic than this. It's just really, really pleasant and really calm.
It was nice kind of to just design something a little differently. Hello. From what we're used to. Like works the brain a different way and times it helps you with the other kind of design problems that you're having. Or
I did want to ask, because I know, I think I had a conversation with one of you about this, again, somewhere at some festival at some point, but I know Exposure was sort of inspired by the concept of natural camouflage to some extent, and the idea of like, moths and whatnot with weird patterns just hiding in plain sight. And Nobody Home has this narrative of like, a light narrative of the humans are the enemy, etc. Which means that with all three of these, there's a very strong sort of naturalism going.
Yeah, I guess it just comes out. I don't know. I don't know. GJ, do you want to say anything about that?
I mean, I don't know. I guess with a lot of people, I mean, there's like this appreciation for things that are, kind of beyond your control, and things that you can appreciate for their, sense of the escapism or whatever it is. Contrast against the chaos of life. I don't know.
I think it's something that's on our mind a lot, is our relationship to nature. And it's just something we've always been fascinated by, weird animals doing weird things, like the camouflage stuff. And going on hikes and seeing the garbage, seeing the litter left around, seeing people carving their names into trees is one thing, but we've seen people carve their names into like succulents, which like totally like
that was awful.
Yes.
just thinking about how much plastic we're using, and it's just a constant theme. It's just always going to be there. Not even talking about climate change yet, but like, I don't know, maybe it's just part of our personality. How can we not think about how we exist here and the relationship? And that's actually part of GJ. I know part of the art style here, right, with the characters and the environments and the dog.
Like, if you notice, like the characters look very different from the world that they're in. Like the world is photographic and pixelated, while the character kind of very 2D flat, cartoon-like, stylized. And that was kind of intentional, like really separate them out from the space. Like when you're in this area, you're a visitor, right? You're supposed to not look like you belong in a sense. But like if you go back and you'll see that Pepper, the dog, she's made of like a photograph in a way. It's stylized like the background, and because she's a dog and she's part of nature. So we wanted to show that relationship and contrast with like the people versus the environment and nature and everything.
Also, from Twitch chat, we have a message from Visager saying,
"Hey, Josie,
popping in to say hi. Thanks.
Hi.
Thanks for swinging by, Josie.
Hey, Josie.
Extremely beautiful soundtrack."
Yeah, thanks for providing such a great soundtrack.
We were talking before about how good it is.
Yeah.
It's funny, I played this earlier today and like found way more of the things. And on the second playthrough, I'm like, huh, I found that journal before and the deer. And this is just what nature is, you know? You can never know where anything is.
Yeah, I mean the positions of the items are randomized a bit, so they'll always be in the same area, but like that trowel could be there, or it could be on the right side, or there's a few locations for each item.
Super well hidden.
Cool. Yeah, that one was. If I didn't mouse over it, I would have missed it. Okay, so I can go back to the bus and we can watch the ending, or I can keep on searching for things. What should I do?
Yeah, why not take the bus?
Yeah, take the bus.
Let's take the bus. Find things on my next hike.
Thanks for Josie. Josie also goes on a lot of hikes, right?
Yeah.
Josie, are you still in the chat? I think you were also... Were you like a camp counselor?
Oh yeah, I love hikes. I don't know if y'all are reading this too. Big hikes fan.
Josie led some trips in Upper Michigan and Pennsylvania.
Oh wow. And there's your friend.
Yeah, she's got a broken leg.
I forgot to return all this stuff.
It's okay, you put him in the lost and found.
Yep. And you returned a lot of things to their owners.
Yeah.
Okay, what street is that? Are there any landmarks I can recognize? No.
Those photos might have been found images. Needed a specific perspective.
And there's the boss. 9 out of 10 items, pretty good.
Oh yeah.
Which one is the one that you didn't find? Is it the notebook?
The notebook,
I think it's the
notebook.
okay.
The journal.
Which I'll say I saw, but I didn't say anything.
I thought I grabbed it, but maybe I forgot to click on it.
Know exactly where it is.
That's okay. That means I can go on another hike.
I think the
So
achievement.
now, if
I think that might be trying to open up a Steam window in the background, which is why it's not showing anything on the stream.
got it. Okay.
Yeah,
That's
my
okay.
apologies.
Let's click on the about while we're here.
Yeah, so the achievements were one for completing all the photos, completing all the lost items, and one for being best friends with everyone. So those are the first 3 achievements. The next 3 achievements are for getting increasingly large amounts of litter.
I've got 9 pieces of litter. What's my rank?
Might not be that high.
Very low. All right, so basically the first time I played through this, I talked to Matt and I said, well, I'm not best friends with anyone. And he said, well, you have to go on multiple hikes to get those. So I didn't realize that there was like encouragement to do multiple playthroughs. And I think that's a really cool idea. I guess we'll find out. Does the dialogue change? Like there's presumably different endings and things the more you play it.
Yeah, the dialogue changes. I guess the more you talk to them, or you get to know a little bit more about, their personal lives. Whether it's, dealing with the pandemic or just kind of these thoughts that they have themselves. You start sharing a little bit more and get to learn a bit more about them.
Also, if my phone's ringing, let me know.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good.
Cool. I don't hear the games down this time.
The wonders of distributed play.
Right. Have y'all gone on many hikes during the pandemic?
Not that many.
Yeah, at first no, but later on when it calmed down, like in August or so, we did.
Hi.
Yeah, we wanted to at least do a hike in the fall, because the foliage around here is really nice. So we went to Mount Tammany. It's about an hour west from like where we are. We read like on is it all trails that it gets really busy. We went like really early. We got there like 6:30 in the morning and made sure we were like
the
the
best.
first ones in the parking lot. What was crazy was there were people there already who took a train in. They've been there since like 5 in the morning and stuff. But that sense of like quiet, feeling like you have the place to yourselves, it's really nice.
Yeah, I think that would be my #1 tip is go as early as you possibly can.
I was gonna ask for I had in my notes we should do a hiking tips segment. 100% agree with that. Although, particularly if you're someone who, like me, is living in a major metropolitan area, find those hikes that you can get to off of like Metro North or something like that, and like
Hi.
there is something kind of nice about just like getting off the train with like 150 people who all go up that horrible scramble together. But at the very least, try to pace yourself such that you have a good chunk of alone time. It's just like you want to be out there in the stillness of it.
Yeah.
There's that dog who's in that
Hello there.
textured photographic art style, as GJ mentioned.
I love the very subtle animation.
Hi.
Nope. Okay, that's the dog.
3. Maybe if you get that 3rd friendship point. So maybe talking a little more generally, how long have y'all been making games?
A long time now. I mean, we first met in the industry working at a game company, and that was in 2010, right?
Oh yeah.
That was at Fantage, which is it was like an MMO virtual world. I think most of the players were probably between, like, I don't know, what would you say the age range was, like 10 through 16?
Yeah, middle school, high school.
Yeah. Yeah, the majority was definitely within that range. I guess it was a little, the format of it was a lot like Club Penguin, if you're more familiar with that.
Yeah, I'm pulling up screenshots now, and I can see the resemblance.
Yeah, it was huge. Had a lot of players. You walked around actually much like this game. You would click, point and click, and it would walk there.
It's going full circle, huh? 10 years later.
That game unfortunately closed down recently, like within the past 2 years. So it had been running for like 10 years or so. But yeah, I don't know. After leaving that company, we've just made games on the side. We've done like 1 million game jams. We've been working on our other game, Exposure, for a long time. Yeah, we worked on this game with Josie and Olivia, and that was a really great experience. We actually worked with Josie on 5 other prototypes, including this one, this summer. So that was super great.
That was a lot of fun.
And this is the one that we were like, well, this is the easiest one to finish, so we'll finish this one first. But that means we have a bunch of other games down the line that also have Josie's music.
Ooh, that's exciting. Were any of those, have you been doing any game jams recently? There's been a huge, I've noticed a bit of an uptick in like fully remote game jams.
Yeah, we haven't done any though. Kind of just been working on our own games. We host Global Game Jam every year in New Jersey. So we did it was the largest jam site in New Jersey last year, but I don't know what. Well, there's like a pandemic now.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything is online, and so yeah, the format's just being adjusted, but it can be online.
Y'all are involved with Game Devs of Color as well.
Yeah, so
and that had a pretty.
Hello.
Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, so that was recent. That was in September. And that was online for the first time this year due to the pandemic.
Yeah, I was going to say that was one of the biggest online events I saw this year. That was really cool.
Oh, cool.
Thanks. Yeah, it's a great community. We obviously had to cancel the in-person event. But, you know, it's a community that really wants something to happen, so we just had to make an online event, and I think it worked out. It was good.
There was a lot of, I guess because of the online format, there's a lot more people able to tune in and from like all over the world, because geography no longer was an issue. That was really exciting to see kind of the growth, I guess, of the event.
It is kind of amazing that there's like this situation where participation doesn't have to be capped and location doesn't have to matter as much, because everyone that can show something online can participate.
Yeah, it turned out to be more accessible in many ways. There are some things obviously you do miss out on, like having a games expo that you could walk around and just see all the games in. But you know, there's trade-offs. It's really good. We've got Leafeon in the chat. Is that you, Olivia? Saying hi.
Find these deer. Knew they were around here somewhere. Maybe not here.
Leafeonzy, hello.
Oh, that is Olivia.
Yeah. In chat is one of the other collaborators on the project.
So working with Olivia was amazing. She helped us develop some of the features out, especially part of the dialogue systems, the whole ending cutscene system, and the data structures related. Probably some other things too. But
Hi.
yeah, thanks for dropping by, Olivia.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, is this the fire safety?
Yeah. Yeah, we returned his battery, but it was dead anyway. But better to not later.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that this was one of many different prototypes that you worked on over this summer. I'm sort of curious, like, how far along, how did this game sort of shape together? Like, what did a prototype of this look like, and what were the sort of, like, core pieces for it?
Yeah. So those prototypes that we mentioned were all 1 week prototypes or so. So the 1 week prototype of this had, I think it was 4 rooms, 4 screens of the blue trail, and that was it. I don't remember if it had litter. Did it have the lost items, GJ?
I think so. We wanted, well, there was some part in development where like we have to at least give the player, you know, more of a reason to explore and to be like a really helpful figure in the game. I'm not sure if that came after or if that was part of the initial prototype though. So at first we were just like testing out, you know, some of the parallaxing and having the player move from here to there.
Trying to look up my notes. I think we had like a 10-minute gameplay experience, and we had the idea, the concepts of this replayability, but not much of that was implemented yet. So our plan for this was 3 to 5 weeks of development, and then 1 week of QA, 1 week of like releasing it on the various platforms. I think we took 1 week longer than that for the development of it, but overall pretty short, relatively speaking, development cycle.
And I think Steam, we initially didn't release on Steam, and that came a couple weeks ago. That like was another week of implementing and testing.
Oh, Olivia remembers. Litter and pickups existed when she first saw it. They didn't work, but they were there.
They were there. They were there.
Olivia's the one who
you.
made them work. Yeah, so Olivia joined onto the project, I think when we were 3 or when we had already worked on it for 3 weeks or so out of the total time.
I think that journal is on the yellow trail. If I can find it.
Gotta get that 100%. It's good trail audio. It's like the right level of bird noise. It's not a lot of bird noise. I feel like a lot of times when people try to make forests in games, there's too much bird noise. This is believable.
I think the footsteps are great.
Mm-hmm.
There's three. There's a whole set of footsteps so that it randomizes, but there's three different sets of footsteps. There's the dirt one, the rocky one, and the wet one. And so certain textures will trigger different footstep sets.
It's just so many good little details like that. Extremely relatable.
Yeah, Josie was great in
Also-
kind of like heading the direction of all of it. Sorry, Mark.
I was gonna say, I also love how each trail kind of has its distinct style. You know, it makes you feel like you're hiking a whole different thing or a whole different place.
Hi.
Definitely inspired by real life trails.
Also, I guess gameplay-wise, it'll help you remember certain areas more. Get familiar with various areas and know how to get there. You learn the trails a little bit better.
That's why he's wearing the big sun hat. Makes sense.
Did
Continuity.
you say about cutting his own hair?
No, we haven't gotten there.
Oh
yet.
no, that's not.
He was just talking about sunscreen. Just talking about sunscreen. Spoilers, come on.
Oh,
Oh no!
No, it's all right.
Yeah, we tried to write. They're all different characters, but we tried to write in a lot of our own experiences or things from our friends. So, yeah, the first time I cut my own hair, it was pretty bad.
You got it.
Far away though.
100% photos, 100% items. You just get a speed run back to the bus more.
Well, I gotta talk to these people, you know? We gotta build relationships.
Yeah. I was very pleased to find on YouTube a speedrun of this game.
I gotta look this up.
Yeah. It is cool because he also listed out his routing notes in the description.
1446, that's pretty good.
Yeah. It is, because that's like 3 runs.
Yeah.
So.
Amazing.
There's like a time-saving exploit that he uses, which I think is amazing.
You don't need to talk to people after collecting their item to get their first tree. You can just leave and then talk to them on subsequent days. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, the one thing that's
Secrets break out of photo taking. This is great.
yeah, the breaking out of photo
So
taking,
good.
and he makes the character like slide during the photo, so that saves like a second or two at least on each photo.
Hi.
I just love the base truth that no matter how relaxing your game is, someone somewhere posted a link to the YouTube video in chat if anyone's interested.
Man, the reality of everyone just having to deal with COVID and the dialogue is just like the wedding photographer who's just so bummed.
Yeah, a lot of them are thinking about work. Like the librarian, the library's closed. The backpacker's here because he quit his job. The runner's dealing with some stress related to work. Yeah, they've all got something on their minds.
Sometimes it's hard not to think about work. Like a primary source of discomfort for people.
But I feel like that's one of the things you can really get out of taking walks like this, is that you could finally think through it, you know?
Yeah,
Disconnect
absolutely.
enough that you can get all of the thinking about work done and then move on.
But like, especially during COVID, you know, where everyone is getting stressed out for various reasons, just being able to go out into nature, and you can still be stressed out, but it's like, oh, I'm escaping from, you know, whatever I'm dealing with in real life, even for a day.
Yeah, and kind of in this open yet shared space, everyone's kind of it's a little nice in a way. Everyone is dealing with this together in a sense, not really alone.
Yeah, it is nice. Like, I mean, out on the trail, people are just sort of, they're just sort of themselves, if that makes any sense, right? You're not seeing them as, like, whatever their job is, or not even what their hobby is, or you know, not even really a social setting exactly. So people are just sort of out there being themselves in nature, if that makes any sense.
It's this sort of like
They're not
neutral.
having a role.
Yeah, there's this neutral context that's provided by where you are and what you're doing. It's just sort of like, yeah, we're all just sort of here to walk around in the woods.
Yeah.
Doesn't really matter what else you got going on, because for the next couple of hours, you're going to walk around in the woods. And that's great.
Hi.
Sandwiches, staple of the hiking experience. So, Mark, I think you're coming up on the return bus journey, which I think would probably be a good natural place to sort of call the stream. Before we go, two sort of standard questions that I'd love to throw towards Brian and GJ. First off, what are y'all playing these days?
I'm playing a lot of Among Us.
Good choice, yeah.
Yep.
It's kind of like filling like a, because I don't go out anymore at all. Has been that way for months, and I don't see anybody, talk to anybody. So it's sort of like satisfying a couple things at once.
Yeah. Have you played that like I don't remember if there's an official name for this, but there's a custom rule setup that like a bunch of streamers started running with, where you
Is it hide and seek?
Sort of. You I don't know if this is the same one, but it's where like you all agree to never report bodies, and the yeah, okay, yeah.
yeah, they call it hide and seek.
Hide and seek, that makes sense, yeah. It's great, I love it.
Yeah.
Mark, I don't know if you've seen this, but basically you make it so that the imposter has extremely limited vision, and everyone just agrees to not report bodies, and so it's a race between the imposter killing everyone and everyone completing their tasks.
Kind of amazing.
Yeah. Olivia says everyone's playing a lot of Among Us. Do you play Among Us, Olivia?
I'm too nervous to play with strangers.
It's reasonable.
If that makes any sense.
I've only ever played with friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, the experience of playing with randoms is pretty bad. I didn't really enjoy it. Actually, I got pretty mad sometimes. I started enjoying it like 10,000% more when I joined like a Discord where they have a bunch of lobbies. So there's regulars and like you play multiple rounds with each other. Nobody's just like quitting and disconnecting because you're on voice chat and people know each other, or I guess eventually get to know each other. It's pretty cool. People share tips on how to play and all that.
And I feel like a big part of it is sort of like I played a lot of like Mafia and Werewolf back in college, and a big part of that was sort of learning like, oh yeah, Tom always lies the same way. So once I figured that out, I can call Tom out whenever. And I think that's a fun little that's a fun dimension to it.
Yeah, I've never seen this kind of social deduction gameplay in anything besides like a card game or anything. So I think it's so cool, and I really like Among Us because I mean, there's just so much more information like going on all the time. There's like multiple rounds, so it gets pretty intense.
It's fun to watch, I think.
It is
as well. I mean,
streams are great.
It's a great spectator game. What about you, GJ? What have you been playing?
Let me think. Most recently, I was playing Signs of the Sojourner. No, it's like a, I don't really know what to call it. It's like a narrative game, but there's a bit of like deck building to it. The deck building serves as like a metaphor for conversation. It's really cool, and the music. Yeah, and the music is gorgeous. Actually, the art is gorgeous too, but it's really fun. Normally, very long, kind of text-heavy narrative games, I have a tough time playing. But I guess the deck building aspect of it, the card playing, makes it a little, I don't know, it keeps my attention going. And yeah, and like you can't like. There are multiple endings, I think, and various like areas you can go into. So you play multiple times to get more of the story or to get the ending that you want.
I should check this out. I was just trying out Griftlands for the first time earlier this week, which is another like roguelike deck builder where they're trying to use the cards for social interactions, but that one's much more mechanical. It's less like, I think from what I understand, Signs of the Sojourner has a lot more like content behind the interactions, and it's not just like numbers.
Yeah. What is that game called though?
Griftlands. It's a deck builder roguelike, great art style. I think I found out about it because a bunch of people were on Twitter talking about how good the art is. But
it's in Town of Salem.
Oh yeah,
is good too.
Yeah, Town of Salem. It's it is mostly werewolf, right? As far as mechanics, I think. I don't know. I haven't.
If I could see it being with that theme, for sure.
What about you both? What have you been playing?
My most recent things have been, I've been playing a lot of like sort of like repetitive social games. So like I started playing Overwatch again more seriously for the first time in a while. And there's a new Hearthstone expansion coming out, and I'm just a Hearthstone junkie at this point. More recent sort of single player stuff. I've been like sort of chipping away at Heaven's Vault, which to your point, GJ, around really text heavy games, it can sometimes feel like a bit of a slog, but I just really like the world and the design of that one. It's got this cool like language mini game. It's like a neat like ultra futuristic story, which is always fun.
Yeah, I've seen the trailer. It looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it's got the games about linguistics is just like a cool genre, and I hope we see more of that going forward because I didn't know it could work, and it does work. What are you playing, Mark?
You know, I'm playing either Among Us or Jackbox with friends, you know, social games, or Hades, repetitive games that I don't have to think a lot about. I was actually grinding on Abs versus the Blood Queen for a while, just because it was like a good, methodical, you know, single-player thing. And Hades kind of scratches that itch, too, where you're just like, I'm just going to do a Hades run. It'll be like 20, 30 minutes, you know?
Oh, yeah. I love roguelites. I need to play that.
Hades is quite good, yeah. And I guess so last question. Brian and GJ, is there anything you want to plug? Stuff you're working on, stuff you like, just whatever. There are no rules, so.
Well, I don't know. Play Tree Trunk Brook.
Yeah.
It's out on Steam. It's free. If you want to support, it is free. But you know, the best thing that helps us is leaving a review. Actually.
You get this pretty supporter badge if you do the DLC.
Yeah, the DLC.
Yeah, thank you for getting the DLC.
Thanks. It's like you can play it in browser a little bit, right?
Yeah, on itch you can do that. On Armor Games, it's on Game Jolt, Newgrounds, but the Steam version has the leaderboard and the achievements and all that. Yeah. And I guess is the most beneficial for us if you had to pick one platform to play it on for algorithmic purposes.
Yeah, I played in browser earlier today, and it was, very similar. I didn't get a leaderboard though.
All right. Well, I think that concludes our 6th episode of Remote Control. Brian and GJ, thanks so much for stopping by.
Well, thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
And folks in Twitch chat, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you in 2 weeks.